Hey guys, it's Lion here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we'll be doing our monthly ramble for June, and I wanted to talk about the big three. I don't know why. I think I saw the thumbnail for a video that said the big three are still the best or something like that, and I wanted to talk about that because I think we in like the Western manga community do have this kind of idea that the big three are the gold standard of everything, but the reality is that they're not. They're just the ones that are the most popular for the vast majority of people. But the thing is that in 20 years, when the kids that started watching anime through Demon Slayer on Netflix, become our age or become older than the people that say the big three are the best right now, are going to say that Demon Slayer was the best thing ever. And honestly, they already do. But I think the thing is that the big three have a place in the canon, I guess, of Western manga, if that makes sense. Manga and anime. So, like, there is a certain level of intrinsic, like, value to those three and to Dragon Ball. And if you count Latin America, to Saint Seiya, due to the fact that most modern anime and manga fans are people that watch that as children and teenagers, right? Which is interesting because, you could also say that Sailor Moon or Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Did that for a lot of kids as well. But I think that Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon were mostly just seen as cartoons for the vast majority of people, and no one really thinks about them particularly, strongly when they think of anime and manga. It's usually Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, and Dragon Ball. And I'd say that One Piece kind of is the weakest out of those in terms of like impact it had on the Western kind of anime and manga sphere, while Bleach and Naruto were going on, because ultimately One Piece isn't that popular in the US. It's popular everywhere else in the world for sure, but it's only recently that, people have started really talking about it, in the last like 8 or 10 years, right? And, that kind of burst in popularity that it had thanks to the pandemic and the fact that booktubers of all sorts, not just people that are in the manga and anime community, have started reading it, like Murphy or Daniel Green or, Books and Tropes or any of the other people that watch or that you might watch that talk about manga and anime that are not actually manga and anime channels, all kind of got into it through One Piece, right? So, yeah, I don't think that the big three are the gold standard, but they do have a place in being, recognized as the best things ever. But I think that we really need to stop thinking about them as like the end-all be-all of manga and anime, because there's a lot of things wrong with them, even though I love all three of them. I like them a lot. But to begin with, the length of all of them is impossible to surmount. It is a situation that is kind of ridiculous. And most people today that were not exposed to it as children probably don't find the length to be all that appealing. Like, honestly, that is a big problem with One Piece specifically, because it is a very slow-moving series compared to Bleach and Naruto. And honestly, Bleach and Naruto are not that much better off. I mean, they're 25-ish volumes shorter, actually maybe 30 at this point, but they still are immensely long. Like, you can't really provide them as beginner manga because they're just so insanely long, right? The investment of time that has to go into that is insane, right? And, things that came after that, like Haikyuu and stuff at 40 volumes, are a lot more doable. They're still kind of insanely long, but it is a lot more palatable for the vast majority of people. So, I don't know. I'm not really sure there was a point to this video. I'm just kind of talking about this very central idea that I had, that was the big three are not the gold standard of manga and anime, and they should not be, because even though they're amazing and they're great and there's so many things that are amazing about them, there's also quite a few things that are bad about them, and also things that really don't work for them or don't work for manga nowadays that really work for them, like specifically the length, right? So I don't know. I don't know if any of that makes sense. This is more or less a like, I had the basis of an idea and I didn't think about it enough, but I also didn't want to sit down and think about it too long because then I felt like I'd forget about it. So here we are. I think that's really it. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about this because I haven't really been able to think about it. So what I might do is actually do something that I've not done before, which is monthly Ramble Revisited. And in a few weeks, I'll do another video kind of actually talking about this more in depth because I think it's an interesting topic and one that maybe has been covered before, but maybe not, because what I usually see is people either shitting on the big three or dick riding them so hard. And there has to be a balance. And there also has to be a proper, like, understanding and kind of thoughtful, nuanced conversation about them. Because, yes, the vast majority of us, 20-something and older, people that got into manga, I would say between 20 and 30, maybe 35-ish, got into manga and anime through, the big three and Sailor Moon and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And all of these things that were, popular when we were children. But, the new kids, people younger than us, did not get into anime and manga and stuff like that through those. So, ultimately, the love, ultimately, the thing that we think is the best and the gold standard is the first one that really captivated us. And for many of us, that is one of the big three. But that conversation has to change if we're going to be able to coexist with all the other people that are younger than us that got into things later on, like Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail is actually kind of a very important series, like Attack on Titan, like Demon Slayer, My Hero, these types of things. And I think that we have to find a way to kind of lessen the divide between the generations of manga fans, because maybe manga fans from like the 70s and 80s don't really care, but fans from the 90s and 2000s somehow always end up fighting with each other and with everyone else about, which one's the best anime. And it's like, none of them are. They're all good and they all have problems and they all have things of value to them. And the only thing that the big three have that the other ones don't is that they were there at the right place at the right time for massive cultural impact and for providing the kind of fertile ground on which modern anime fans kind of can appear, right? And that's not really because they were great stories. That's because they were, at the right place at the right time. And so we kind of have to look at other situations where that kind of happened. I think Demon Slayer being on Netflix, or, Fairy Tail being on Netflix, or Attack on Titan being on Netflix, or whatever. I'm pretty sure they were all on Netflix at one point, and I think the only one that's still there is Demon Slayer. But, them being on Netflix when children were starting to figure out how to use Netflix, or One Piece being accessible during the pandemic and stuff like that, there is kind of a value to that. And so I think we kind of have to think about it a little bit more and kind of assess why we love the things we love and how we can kind of connect with other people in the community, even if we don't love the same things, and stop fighting with each other about it, right? So yeah, I don't know. I didn't want it to be a kumbaya type video, but it kind of ended up being that sort of thing at the end here. But yeah, the big three are not the gold standard of manga and anime. They have problems, specifically their length, and I think that's okay. They're still probably one of the most impactful sets of manga and anime for the modern world. There's never going to be another big three. There shouldn't be. And all that we really have to think about is what anime and what kind of situation that people find themselves in when they got into manga and anime, and how that affected which one is their favorite, right? And I think that would be a much better way of looking at things than being like new gen, next gen, the Dark 3, the, bullshit 4, or whatever stupid titles that people come up with on Twitter, right? So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys later.